Hello there wrestling fans, Adam from What Culture here. I hope you're all having a spiffing Friday. Now first of all, thank you very much for all your comments and feedback. You've obviously done something right, because we've got another episode. And by the way, I told you somebody was reading those bloody comments. His name is Hank, by the way, and he's a very good guy, so thank you, Hank. Here's to you. Now we've got a cracking weekend of wrestling ahead. First things first, we've got NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. That's happening on Saturday, followed by the Rumble on Sunday. Everybody's excited about that, me especially. However, before we get started with all of that, we have the very important matter of doing those ups and downs for this week's episode of NXT. Put your feet up, relax, get that cup of coffee, get that cup of tea, maybe even a bottle of beer. It's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere, am I right? I am right, I'm always right. The night opened with a promo that was absolutely dripping with eccentricity and style, and we've come to expect absolutely no less from the Velveteen Dream. It was slow, it was daft, it was so Velveteen Dream that it hurt in all the right places. Top stuff from Dream and a sexy little up to kick off the show. It was a return to NXT TV for No Way Jose this week, who was back for the first time since August 2017. He was up against Cesar Bononi, who, I think it would be fair to say, probably looks like somebody created him on WWE 2K18. No Way Jose always brings the entertainment value for the fans and seems to get them going, but unfortunately he couldn't seem to do either of those things when it came to Bononi, who just couldn't seem to get it right on this particular occasion. In fairness, the Brazilian is one of many on the NXT learning curve, so you're going to get matches like this every now and again. However, as NXT has set such a high standard for itself, it's quite hard to see this as anything other than a down, I'm afraid. Bianca Belair is also technically a rookie in NXT, 16 months under her belt, but you wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at the way she presents herself. She's got that big deal feel about her already, and that's great to see, such confidence from somebody who's so early on in their NXT career. I'm a big fan of this, using her hair to hit people. That looks like it absolutely kills, and also I'm loving the EST gimmick, obviously the bestest, the greatest, etc, etc. She's definitely got all the pieces, there's no question about that. It's just going to be a case of putting them all together. That said, her match against Latoya Alsop wasn't exactly a good example of that, and the failure to kind of draw the crowd in with the match it made it a bit difficult, it made it feel a bit flat. While Bianca Belair was dominant throughout the match, I don't really feel like it emphasised her talents the way it probably should have. So as baffled as I am to have to physically say these words, I think it's going to be back-to-back downs for NXT. What a miserable fucker I am. After Ember Moon cut arguably her best promo last week on NXT, this week she was put in a room with Shayna Baszler face to face, and it was the last chance we had before TakeOver Philadelphia to really get a feel for the two characters and get some more narrative that was driven by that. Despite some slightly over-the-top facial expressions, as Ember Moon does have a tendency to go full Jim Carrey every now and again, she came across great. She's the fiery babyface, and she looked determined to kind of maintain order within the NXT women's division. While Ember Moon was good, Shayna Baszler was excellent. I'm totally sold on her as the Queen of Spades. Her emotionless, cold delivery has cemented her role as the Brock Lesnar badass who doesn't give a shit about anybody or anything in the women's division in NXT. Really enjoyed that segment, and I absolutely loved the fact that the women were just allowed to be wrestlers for a change. It wasn't a big deal that they were women, it was just promoted as two wrestlers having an argument. Are you watching, main roster? This is how you book women. Perfect way to play it in my opinion, and this segment well and truly earned its up. Here's hoping the match at TakeOver Philadelphia can match this kind of standard. So last week we had a really good promo about TM61. We got another one this week which was much more focused on Shane Thorne and his injury and rehabilitation process. The revelation that Thorne worked a bunch of matches while injured will do his character development no harm whatsoever. And as a team, it was also interesting to see the frustrations they had with their first run at the company sort of before the injury. But that's really going to get some sympathy from the fans, and hopefully it'll help build that connection a little bit further. Really enjoyed this one, maybe not as much as last week's, but still it was great and it perfectly did the job that it was meant to do. Pain may well just be weakness leaving the body, as Shane Thorne put it in this week's video, but this up leaving my body is a result of happiness, I can assure you. Up for these boys, and here's hoping their return to action next week is as good as we all hope it's going to be. Now, I've never actually seen Paul Ellering's Book of Pain, a New York Times bestseller, I'm sure. However, I've got a feeling it's not a very long book or a very complicated one either. Get in, get angry, get out. I guess that's it really, other than maybe eat large quantities of protein in between all of that. The authors of Pain delivered another textbook squash match. It was actually so fast, in fact, that I only managed to catch one of the jobbers' names, R.I.P. Damian Smith, and I think it was like Chase or Chris Brown as well. Either way, rest in peace chaps, and thank you for coming. I bloody love the authors of Pain. I love Paul Ellering and his little leather jacket, the mad bastard. And I love the fact that these two behemoths are going to be taking on Undisputed Era at TakeOver Philadelphia. And you know what that means? I think you do. It means this is a giant At the moment, nothing quite guarantees NXT brilliance like Johnny Gargano's name at the top of a high-stakes match, and this week was no different, with Gargano absolutely delivering in utter spades. Now, before we get into that, let's not take anything away from the Velveteen Dream. He is absolutely brilliant, and the fans very much showed that last night. They chanted Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano back and forward for the first 2 minutes of the match, and rightly bloody so. The bout between these two was heated, it was fast-paced, and, no surprises, it culminated in another great match. The transformation of Patrick Clark into the Velveteen Dream certainly didn't happen overnight. It took a few tweaks, but my god, was it worth it. And it's fair to say Dream has fast become one of NXT's most exciting performers. But the night belonged to Johnny Gargano, a spirited performance from him, and he proved that he's definitely got the skills to pay those bills at the top of the card. Pay those bills, people. They're important. The storytelling was exceptional, as we've come to expect from Gargano and Dream, and it genuinely sowed a few seeds of doubt. I mean, there was a couple of times I was sat there thinking, oh my god, they're going to take it off him. Please don't take it off him. Don't take it off him. Fortunately, they didn't. Gargano ended up getting the win. He locked Dream in the Gargano escape and made him tap. After the match was finished, Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega tried to get one over Johnny Gargano. They tried to attack him, but Gargano turned the tables, won up the Formula Sombra, and he ended the night hoisting the NXT champion high above his head, and what an image that was. It's safe to say if we see that on Saturday night, we're going to have ourselves a new NXT champion. But not only that, I think I might actually die of sheer happiness. And you know what that means, don't you? It's another goddamn up. So that's it, another episode of NXT Ups and Downs in the bag. Back of the net. For me, the big highlight here was seeing Gargano come out of the other end of that match with the Velveteen Dream, with his title shot intact. And I think it's fair to say his outstanding run of form and the excellent bit of storytelling that's happened since his breakup with Ciampa has earned him his spot at the main event on Saturday. It's going to be great. The match between him and Almas should be fantastic. Really looking forward to that one, as I am for the rest of the card with NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. But enough about me. What about you guys? We want to know your thoughts on NXT and also your thoughts on this week's episode of Ups and Downs. Let us know them in the comments below. As I promised you, Hank will be on standby. Isn't that right, Hank? Yep. Hank will be on standby to read all of those and give us lots of lovely feedback. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you fancy it, you can pop over to whatculture.com, read a couple of articles, maybe even read the Ups and Downs article by one Mr. Andy Murray. Shout out to you, Mr. Murray, you wonderful little bastard. My name is Adam Nicholas. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend of wrestling and, as always, have a fucking great day.